attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can surely catch excellence. That's our quote from Vince Lombardi this morning. Well, let's double down to our music video of the day. Setting the tone for the rest of the conversations today, and I really hope that you have a very great day today. So I'm here to also make sure that your morning is a lot better. But let's get into our first conversation for Inside Out. And so yesterday, we know the Speaker recalled Parliament, and so Parliament sat yesterday. The MPs came to the House, had conversations and deliberations, among others. But things took a certain turn yesterday. Ibrahim Al-Hassan was in Parliament for us, and he's joined me. Ibrahim, good morning.
Good morning, Joshua.
I hope you're doing well, sir.
I'm good. How about you? We are soldiering on, right? Yes, so yesterday Parliament soldiered on, right? They sat very late, very late. Yeah. But before sitting started, there was drama. Okay, so let's use the opportunity to educate our viewers. When Parliament returns, be it on an emergency basis or the conventional recall of Parliament after a long break, what happens is that many of the members of the caucuses are seeing themselves for the first time. Right. So they have meetings. So there's a caucus meeting for the minority. There's a caucus meeting for the majority. Right. As well. And what do they discuss? They discuss how their holidays have been, how their vacations have been, and the agenda for the recall. What exactly is to be done? Yeah. They also strategize. Right. Are we embarking on any boycott? What agenda are we kicking against? Which one are we supporting? Right. So yesterday that happened. Yes, and there were reports that for that of the minority is because the minority leader, Osahin Alexander Kwame Nafenyamaki, had been summoned by his caucus members. Yeah. He had reason to explain that that is not the case, and that it was the regular conventional caucus meetings ahead of any recall. Right. Again, of course, he had hinted that they were going to file a motion for
a
probe into activities of Gold Board and the central bank relative to the $1.7 billion losses recorded per the IMFs. Now, so that was discussed as well. That motion had even already been filed, right? I will return to the fate of that motion, right? So that was caucus meeting. And then there was one also for the NDC, or the majority caucus. That one was an unveiling caucus meeting. Because there was a new sheriff in town.
Of course, the new leader.
New leader.
James Agaga.
So that was where it was determined that, no, since he's freshly minted, right, it will not be appropriate for him to give the welcome address. And that Mahama Ayariga will have to still give the welcome address and say goodbye properly, right? So that happened. And then when station started very late in the evening, Osahin had his day. And that is also conventional. When the House returns, leadership is allowed to give welcome address.
Absolutely.
He grabbed the opportunity. Sorry. And then said that he had gone to court. Right. He has sued Sammy Gyamfi. You guys were there in him, right?
No, you see, he mentioned the Jesus principle, that as a Christian, well, a lot of things were said about Jesus, which were not true, but Jesus did not take any action.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, at what point did he decide not to be Jesus again?
Well, we spoke to Edem Senanu, who said that in certain circumstances, you should not look Christ-like, right? So he believed that this is one of the circumstances where Alexander Kwame Nkrumah should not be looking Christ-like, because his reputation was on the line. Many people had actually dared him to pursue legal action. In fact, Sammy Gyamfi had dared him to go to court. And that's exactly what he's done. And he didn't take prisoners. He just did not take Sammy Gyamfi to court. Erica J of NEIP.
2 media houses as well.
And then 2 media houses as well, because they offered their platform for these allegations to be made, right? And he has thrown another challenge. He's actually daring Sammy Gyamfi and Erica J to proceed to a nearby police station, lodge an official complaint against him over attempted extortion.
Extortion, yes.
And once that happens, because what he has done is civil procedure, right? The lawyers, you have a date with 3 lawyers. They told you that what he's done is civil procedure, defamation, right? But the criminal one will be when a complaint is properly filed or lodged at the police station, and then he will be arrested. And he said he's ready to prove his innocence, right? So that is there. That actually stopped him from talking into detail about the Gold Board matters and what have you. But Mahama Ayariga did. He said, the losses have been occasioned. Yes, nobody's running away from that fact. But it's a small price to pay for economic stability. And many people have been explaining that. Yes, the structure is to ensure that there is economic stability, not profit making. So we might have incurred $1.7 billion losses. By the way, those losses we found where they will be sitting now. They will no longer be sitting at the central bank, neither will they move to the Gold Board. Government is absorbing them. So they will now move to ATO's jurisdiction. So government will absorb the losses. So now the matter is settled as far as the losses are concerned. But one matter that's yet to be settled will be as whether somebody attempted to extort money or not.
Quite interesting. I think we can take a listen briefly to Mahama Ayariga yesterday when he appeared in Parliament, given his goodbye and welcome, and as well. So let's quickly put that on. The slide you're seeing on the screen, that he's actually directed his lawyers to proceed and sue Sammy Gyamfi, Erica J, Joy News, and Peace FM.
In the face of of the allegations of extortion leveled against me, I have chosen to take high moral ground by submitting myself to the processes of the law. I have accordingly caused writs to be filed in suit number GT 1029/2026, entitled Osahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin versus Samuel Edu-Jemfi and Multimedia Group Limited at the Accra High Court, and suit number GR/ACH/CC/C5/02/2026, entitled Osahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin versus Eric Ejay and Peace FM at the Achimota Circuit Court. I have every confidence that in the fullness of time, the court will make the appropriate determination on these matters. Mr. Speaker, I also await with bated breath that the man or the men who made the allegation will have the courage to report the matter to the police or the OSP or any investigating agency in this country. And I expect that if they muster the courage to report that I have extorted from them and I am invited, I shall submit myself to every investigation so that eventually my name is cleared. Mr. Speaker, there is a limit to political discourse. There are lines that must not be crossed, and these red lines, once crossed, they must be dealt with. Mr. Speaker, I can modestly and humbly say that I have served in this position with integrity. I came into this office a man of hard work with determination, and I have achieved for myself what I have to do for myself, my family, and my constituents. Mr. Speaker, I work with clear conscience and with fidelity to the responsibilities entrusted to me. I say so without more.
So that's Osahin Alexander Kwamna Afenyo-Markin, the Ifutu MP and minority leader. He says, Charlie, I wanted to be like Jesus, but the way people are moving, it's okay. There can only be one Jesus. Today, I am Alexander. Maybe Alexander the Great. So
how come that we only get to know somebody's full name once he's sued? I never knew Samuel Edu-Jemfi's name is Samuel Edu-Jemfi. And I was thinking, okay, he might have sued the wrong person. But
and I looked at the suit itself, house number unknown.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was put there.
They don't know where he lives.
He doesn't know where he
maybe
lives.
for security reasons, they also don't want to put it there.
Well, he put his own house number and location there, but he doesn't know Sami Jemfi's house. So how do you find that Samuel Edu-Jemfi whose house number is unknown?
It's unknown. Maybe they.
I think there was a paragraph I saw that was so interesting. Let me fetch that quickly.
Yes.
In terms of how he described Sami Jemfi as well in the suit, it says. The first defendant is an adult Ghanaian citizen, a legal practitioner, and presently the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gold Board. The first defendant is amongst those who qualified in the recent past to practice law in Ghana and is fortunate to find himself as the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gold Board.
Yeah. He's fortunate. Anyway, so the problems are many. Do you know Alhaji Tusio is also in trouble?
Oh, Charlie. When I heard the NLA story yesterday, I felt bad for Alhaji because I'm sorry. When Alhaji was appointed,
yes,
he had a lot of flack. People were like, now why is a Muslim going to head the NLA, which is something that Islam does not necessarily accept in terms of lottery?
Yes.
Cha-cha. Yes. Why is an Alhaji going to do that? Yeah. But he says, listen, it's service, it's work, it's a secular job.
Yes.
And now the people say, you are giving yourself furniture allowance.
Okay.
You, the directors, you are getting furniture allowance. Meanwhile, we are not being paid. What we take home, we don't have. But you are giving yourself furniture allowance.
That's a problem. And I think government has intervened. And so government has assured that the non-payment of salary issue will be dealt with. But I think if Alhaji Tusio thought it was going to be a smooth ride, This is a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Yes, they were actually demanding for his head. I don't know what the president would do.
Exactly. They wanted Alhaji out.
Yeah. But if the Islamic scholars will be waiting to see what happened. If Alhaji is booted out, I'm sure the Islamic scholars will be happy. But it will also mean that Alhaji will not have his daily bread. You see. So let's see how that plays out. But yes, I don't know. They did rehearse or something. People were sleeping on the floor.
On the floor.
And it was the Ghana interviews for me. You see, people were doing interviews. They were speaking Ghana.
Of course. They had to express themselves. You see, sometimes English limits you.
Yeah.
Because you don't have content to say what you want to say. Yeah. So that one, as an Irish it's very important.
Interesting.
So, Ibrahim, thank you so much. That's it for Insider. But before we go, let's check out what the papers are saying this morning. So let's start with the Daily Post this morning. United Party petitions OSP and AG over extortion allegations against Afenyo Markin. And NDC formally notifies Bagbin of James Agalga's appointment as majority leader. Also West Wuogon violence suspect double, still at large. That's according to the Interior Minister who addressed the nation yesterday on some of the cases within his jurisdiction. He also talks about the fact that so far about 700,000 Ghanaians have been dealt with in terms of relief items provided, not more. And people are asking questions. What about the June 3? We want the June 29 victims. We want to know the exact number of people who have received relief items, because there are some people who are saying that they've not received anything. Yet a 350 million allocation was made. So we want to know.
To be able to provide those details for us. They were in charge of the distribution of relief items. Yeah.
So, okay.
No, you have to go back. Okay. You're not done, right?
Afenyo Markin sues Samijemfi, one other NDC official, and 2 media houses over extortion allegation, and that's the Daily Post this morning.
Daybreak this morning. NLA staff suspend strike after government intervenes in salary dispute. Bagbin to admit minorities gold board motion. Yes, he said it will be admitted, but it won't be taken during this emergency 5-day sitting. Applaud pensioners, domestic Eurobond holders, not gold board. Professor Bokwin. Professor Bokwin has been at it for a while now, talking about the fact that the losses incurred as a result of the domestic gold purchase agreement or program far exceeds the 1.7 billion that as captured by the IMF. And he has his explanations for that. Afenyo sues Samijemfi, 3 others for defamation. That is it for the Daybreak this morning.
The dispatch this morning says Mahama intervenes to save Adamu's mine. Government seeks 1-year turnaround plan, and that's one of the things that I'm really excited about, because we've talked about the fact that, well, Ghanaian businesses, let's find ways to make sure that, if possible, let's save those businesses. IGP Tete GHOne urges religious leaders to use sermons to promote peace and prevent conflicts. And the General Superintendent of Assemblies of God Church is on the front page, Reverend Stephen Yenusom Wengam, and he's been re-elected as General Superintendent of the Great Assemblies of God Church.
Is it a 1-year term or something?
No, it's 4 years.
Really?
So he served his first term, and this is his second term. We have a new General Secretary. We have our Treasurer was maintained, and we have a new Deputy General Superintendent in the person of Reverend Dr. Kodjo.
Yeah, so you subject them to elections?
Yes, we subject them to elections.
Okay, democracy in the church. That's good.
We go to General Council, and during General Council meetings, we vote for, after prayers and seeking the face of God, like it was done in the Bible, they cast votes. And so we also vote for our General Superintendent. So
I saw a picture from the Jubilee House. He led the newly elected executive to meet the president.
Exactly.
But so Mahama will leave, but Wengam will still be the General Secretary. General Superintendent.
Assemblies of God, because he has a renewed mandate. Yes.
Okay. Congratulations to all of them.
Congratulations. And Paul Afoko files for MPP national chairmanship today. Likely to win.
To win. Yes. It's coming from Daily Dispatch.
Yeah.
Likely to win.
Interesting.
Afoko. Untuminyanufuku. Yes. Okay, so we move to the next paper. Daily Graphic this morning. Foreign direct investment inflows jumped to 2.62 billion US dollars after 2-year decline. And so we've now recorded an upward trend. Gratis SIF to train 7,000 women and youth. Ghana-China trade relations must shift to value addition. That's according to Dr. Kesela Toforsen. Interior Ministry cracks down on migrant beggars. And world's largest hospital ship begins free surgery for 4,745 Ghanaians. That is it for the Daily Graphic this morning.
Investor News Guide. Hey, okay. Well, capital inflows and macro stability. Ghana tracks 2.61 billion FDI as inflation cools to 4.6%. There's also local content policies being exploited, fueling slave labor in Ghana's mines. Dr. Julius Deborah spearheads new public service modernization and heritage initiative. And there's also Ghana opens $400 million non-interest banking market as BOG cements regulatory controls. And no interest, no conspiracy. Ghana's flirtation with non-interest banking is not a Trojan horse for Sharia law. That's
Sharia law. I'm sure.
Sharia law, yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's on the front page of the Investor News Guide.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the first time I'm getting to see that.
Yes, the National Enquirer, how Abu Dinapo became the conveyor belt for Angela Lee's takeover of Adamus Resources. Oh. Adamus Resources stamps up government reprieve and Kumasi Guest Ultramodern Minerals Commission's office. And I'm told this was put up by the previous administration. Yes, so they must be given their flowers. Customs.
Have you seen the new PRC office as well?
Yes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, and it's just close to where they used to be, and that is the YEA office. Right.
Yes. Now they have an ultra modern office.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Hopefully that keeps our lights on and then our taps flowing all the time. Customs car auction not exposed as buyers lament Charles' dispute, registration delays. Upon folks who engages NDC in Western Caucus ahead of formal declaration. Alaji Lotu, what? As NLA workers demand his removal. That is it for the National Enquirer.
The Business and Financial Times this morning, GMWU 6 policy intervention over mining labor crisis. That's the Ghana Mine Workers Union. And also Republic Bank, Enterprise Life and Ville Enhanced Insurance Solutions. Stock of bad loans rises amid falling NPL ratio. And there's also mid-caps stocks sustain GSE's rally, financial retreat. Mining Chamber urges shift from local content to local capability. And Gold Board, the 22 billion CD that never left the building. Well, that's also on the front page.
No. Okay, so Daily Guide this morning is the final one I have. Afenomarking sues over extortion allegations, and Ghana Standards Authority begins mandatory use vehicle pre-export inspection October 1. Adamus Resources welcomes turnaround plan. NLA staff strike over salary increment, and Parliament recalled over urgent financial sector bill. That's according to the Speaker. NPP's PSP model vindicated. That's the private sector participation in the Saglime housing project. That's according to former housing minister, Kodjo.
Yeah. Right, so those are the papers we have for you this morning. Try and grab any one and get to read the stories for yourself. We'll take a breather. When we return, my guests will be having a conversation on the national issues. So much for staying on with us. This is Jay today here on GHOne Television. Let's bring you the breakfast review segment. Well, this morning I've been joined by Hamza Sweeney, who is a private legal practitioner and a member of the NDC's communications team. Also here is Kwame Jantwa, also a private legal practitioner and a member of the Convention People's Party. We are also expecting Ishaq Ibrahim to join us. He a lawyer and also a member of the NPP's legal directorates. But let's start with our guests who are already seated. And Hamza, it's been a long time we've seen you on the set. Welcome.
Thank you, Josh.
I hope you're doing well.
Well, you can't complain by His grace.
Fantastic. You've been busy, huh?
Very, very, very. But that is what happens when you are one of the critical voices for a government that is clearly performing. And we have come to appreciate that even beyond the media platforms, there's a need for us to engage directly with our people. And so even on these media tours, we find time to travel to certain specific regions to continue to engage with our party folks and assure them of the activities of this government, the promises that we are the promises we are committed to fulfilling, and those that we have fulfilled already. And so the job can be quite tedious, can be quite burdensome, but we bargained for it. And I'm pretty much convinced that we have the thick skin to be able to carry through. But the most important thing is that this is a government that is working. This is a government that is focused. This is the government that we agree, not a perfect one, but one that is sincere and committed with enviable energy, especially when it comes to the promises we made in the last election. And so hopefully, we'll be able to even increase the momentum as we prepare for the third phase of the government by next year. And for me, one thing that makes a government one that is acceptable to the people of the country is a government rooted in integrity. And for 2 consecutive years, never heard of in our country's history, especially under the Fourth Republic, we've been able to run a system without scandals, scandal-free. Under Nanado, in about 6 months, we're already grappling with moving PINA. Then less than a year, PDS came to compound the matters. Today, we are in power for almost 2 years. And you can say with certainty that the appointees of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama are living up to the task, they are living up to his charge, and they are reflecting his persona, even in terms of their public engagements with people. And so that is commendable. This is a government that will not let the good people of this country down. This is a government that will do everything within its power to ensure that we live up to expectation, knowing that it is not just the deliverables in terms of infrastructure, in terms of healthcare, but one critical way they assess a government is one that is rooted in integrity and respect for the people of this country. And I'm sure that we are manifesting that as a government.
Right. Mr. Antwa, good morning to you, sir.
How are you?
I'm well. I hope you're well.
I'm breathing. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate my niece.
Okay.
She's being vetted today.
For your niece?
Yes. She's being vetted today.
By
the position of Minister of Environment.
Dr. Zaneto.
Yes.
Right.
Congratulated. Number 2, I heard over the radio this morning that the Interior Minister has indicated a change in traffic monitoring from the 1st of September, where we're using cameras, mobile phones, there'll be a back room and all that. I'm pleading with him, please don't take the police off the road as yet.
Okay.
And I would have wished, and I'm not sure whether they have, done a pilot to see how it works, because I don't think the general public has been educated with this. It shouldn't be a situation where you're trying to catch people off guard. I think we need to be able to let the general public know, take them, the general public, through some training of what it's all about,
right,
what it does, some of the things you shouldn't do on the road, and then gradually withdraw police over probably 6 or 8 months. Otherwise, if you take the police off the road at once, it's going to be chaos everywhere.
I agree.
Especially with motorbikes, trotros, people driving carelessly because they say, police so and then I was wondering, Sweden, maybe you'll be able to tell me, how will they then find a person who has done a road traffic
violation?
Yeah. If that person uses yam phone. Because yam phone doesn't have the new technologies that we have. So how do you do that? And you then realize, because of that, a lot of motorcycles and trotters, they'll go for yam phone. Nowadays, you can still buy yam phone. So where does it place it? So I think a lot of education should go into it before it is unveiled, so that at least we can understand it. Ghanaians don't like paying money, but they want money. So anything you want to take from them, they resist.
Yeah.
So let's do it well, because two things. If you see a country develop, it's the road network. And if you want to see the character of the people of a country, is how they drive. So it goes to show how roads are very important.
Very important.
Briefly, I was having a discussion with someone this morning on my way here about the way we drive in this country. And I think that should even be the focus of not just the Minister for Interior, but transport to a very large extent, and that of the DVLA. Even the common runabouts, Mr. Joshua.
Yes.
It appears that 70% of those who drive on our roads do not even know the rules governing runabouts.
Exactly.
It's a big problem. So we just drive on our roads by grace.
But have you realized something? On main roads where there are side roads, cars coming from side, they don't stop anymore.
No.
They just cross.
They just cross. There are vehicles in the roundabout, and others, because their mindset is that I'm moving straight. They are just coming on top speed.
They have no idea. How do people acquire licenses in this country?
Well, that is another discussion, because look, there are many who have licenses.
Yes,
they've never been to driving school. Went to EDVLA.
They don't know where the DVLA office is. Yes.
So how do you then roll out a new system like that when the foundation is very weak?
Yeah.
Especially because for commercial
drivers, they learn from their mates learn from their drivers.
Learn from their drivers.
No, they can't read road signs.
Yes.
In most cases.
My mother always used to tell me when we were growing up that when you eat and you don't close your mouth and you eat with your mouth, you grow with it. It becomes part and parcel of you.
That's true.
So she was always careful when you're eating, make sure your mouth is shut.
Yeah.
Don't just, because then you become a big man, then you're sitting there, and that is how it starts.
Yeah.
The trotro mates look at how his master drives.
Exactly.
They get into the driving seat.
They just
do the same.
Yeah.
Like
but I think that DVLA must up the game.
Yes.
And I've seen some positive signals from the new leadership. But the most important thing is how to tighten the processes of getting a license.
Have you stopped at the traffic light in front of Fiesta before?
Oh, yes.
Oh, the other traffic light.
Fiesta Royal. Yes.
And you see the articulated trucks passing.
Yes.
Murder.
Oh, complete murder. And that's what I'm saying, that we drive
by grace.
It's
our roads and the attitude of most of the drivers, and the situation has also been compounded by the motor riders.
Yeah.
Yesterday, for instance, there was one who hit someone's mirror. The person alerted.
Oh,
listen, what I've done? Just turned.
Yeah, just turned.
Just left.
And you see, the worst bit is when they're either in the left or the right lane and they want to cross.
They want to switch.
They just cross.
Yes.
And it's against the law.
Yes.
But also because we don't have markings on our roads, it's creating a lot of challenges.
if we start a road conversation, it's not something that we are going to end today. But it's nice to have these gentlemen in studio this morning. And it's quite interesting as well, because we're going to talk about a lot of issues that have legal matters here and there. And so once the lawyers are here, they'll also be sharing their perspectives. But let me start with you, Hamza. This whole back and forth between the GHOne CEO, the minority leader. The minority leader earlier indicated that, well, the claims against him, he's not going to take any action because he believes posterity will judge him. That it did not take 24 hours for him to realize that, no, his reputation was being dented according to him, for which reason now he's instructed his lawyers to take action and sue the GHOne CEO, Eric Ejay, and 2 media houses for defamation.
Josh.
It
is important to put the whole matter in context. And what is the context? The context stems from the statement or interviews granted by Afenyo Markin.
Yes.
To the effect that GHOne Board had incurred losses in excess of about $1.7 billion.
Yeah.
And in his bid to justify that claim, the evidential document he relied on was the IMF report.
Yes.
On Ghana's small-scale gold sector. In fact, Ghana's domestic gold purchase program.
Yeah.
We have been able to demonstrate over the last few days that indeed nowhere in that document has it been stated that GHOne Board made losses to the tune of $1.7 billion. And anybody who has access to the document should simply even refer to the abstract. The abstract is instructive. The abstract is clear that indeed the losses were attributable to the Bank of Ghana as a result of its own engagements with the domestic gold purchase program. And the World Bank, the IMF also indicated that it was not new. It happened when it was first introduced under the NPP and driven by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, HE. There were losses.
Yeah.
But the IMF indicated the reason for the quantum leap in terms of the figures we are dealing with today. And their position is to the effect that this has to do with the scaling up of the domestic gold purchase program occasioned by the activities of the GHOne Board.
Yeah.
Now, even prior to that particular interview, Afenyo Markin is on record of using Parliament to throw or cast out insinuations against the GHOne Board CEO. Go back to the parliamentary records. Even when Wuntumi was jailed, and he got up in Parliament and sought to criticize the court verdict, he referenced GHOne Board CEO. So you didn't need an angel to descend from heavens to tell you that from day one, there was a certain hidden motive, an agenda, against the chief executive officer of GHOne Board, driven by Afenyo Markin. And those of us who know their modus operandi in Parliament, many of these allegations do not come as a surprise to us, and Senior knows. Many of these allegations, they do not come as a surprise. As if that was not enough. You did a press conference and you proceeded to say that the bail bonds, the future bail bonds for the GHOne Board management
Would be onerous.
Setting a certain stage for eventual political persecution. And you expect the likes of Sami Jemfi, Chief Executive Officer of GHOne Board, to sit down and not comment on the matter. That's one. Secondly, the allegation of extortion.
Yes.
I think that Sami has been pretty much consistent on that allegation. When he addressed the nation using the accountability forum under the Ministry of Communications, that was in government communications.
Communications, yes.
He was emphatic. He led us on with the use of the word extortion. Many were those who challenged him. He was being diplomatic as far as that press statement was concerned, and reference to that particular word. Now, knowing Sammy Gyamfi, you know him, Josh. You followed his politics. He's not one known to be throwing allegations that he cannot substantiate.
Right.
I remember when in opposition, when he insinuated that the Deputy Attorney General, Godfrey Dami, had conducted himself in ways that he considered unacceptable in the Atufosin trials, and that there was evidence to that effect. There were many in the MPP who doubted him until he organized a press conference and put it before the state, before all of us. Then we began to appreciate the seriousness of the allegations he made earlier. So Sammy Gyamfi is not one known to make allegations without evidential basis for those allegations. Make no mistake. So it is his word against Afenyo Makin's denial. And I'll tell you why I think that Afenyo Makin has decided to go to court. Because he was quite sure that the way to deal with the matter was not to react or to go to court.
Yeah.
But even here, Afenyo Makin's political future was on the line. It was on the line. And as a strategic politician as he is, I am sure he got to the conclusion that it is better to buy time in the hope that with time, you will be able to manage even the internal dissent within the MPP than to just accept his fate without fighting. Because not fighting, not instituting a court action would have meant that the allegations are indeed true. So even if the allegations are true, and he knows that the allegations are true, as a matter of political strategy, it would be in his interest to still initiate that court action with the hope of buying time. So the fact that he has initiated court action does not mean that the allegations that were leveled against him are allegations without basis.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Josh, if you were Afenyo Makin, what would have been your option? Your party people were looking up to you to deny and to fight it. The Ghanaian people were looking up to you to deny and to fight it, especially knowing the person who made the allegations. A man known not to be making empty allegations. So it is not for nothing that he was quite reluctant from the word go. But not also instituting the action meant that was the end of his political future. He knows that. He's smart enough to appreciate that. So you can buy time with a court action with the hope that by the time that even the judgment comes, Ghanaians would have moved on, as they believe that we do most of the time. But one fact remains clear, that in this country we can pretend as much as we want. This is not alien in our politics. The demands placed on state officers by opposition parties. Just that the speculation is that it is becoming too much under the leadership of Afenyo Makin. And I can assure you, many others are sitting on evidence that at the right time, they will make public. And so it's not just Sammy Gyamfi alone as Chief Executive Officer of Gold Board. Afenyo and the MPP must not make that mistake. Trust me. It is not just Sammy Gyamfi alone. So let us allow it to unfold.
Right.
We'll go to court. And he also made the point to the effect that, Sammy and Gyamfi and co should consider the possibility of reporting him to the OAS.
Yes.
I can tell you as a matter of fact that has been contemplated. In fact, even before his statement. But the reason why they were quite reluctant in adopting that strategy was simply because of the perception of political witch hunting. Because we've seen it in the politics of the NPP, where they still accuse the secretary to the president of reporting a matter to the BNI, if you remember. And they said that, how can the Secretary of the President do that, even when they had no basis or evidence to support the claim that it was reported by the Secretary to the President. They made all manner of allegations against him. So you can imagine what the MPP would say if Sammy Gyamfi had gone to place before the OSP or report to the OSP or BNI, and they proceeded to invite him. The politics that would have been played around it.
Right.
So for us, I think that we have gone past that stage now, especially considering the fact that he himself has initiated the action. Because even if the OSP had investigated or BNI had investigated, the final matter would have been determined in our law courts.
Yeah.
And thankfully, Afenyo Marking is before our law courts. So let us allow them to bring their evidence before the judge, and the determination would be made on the substance of the matter.
Right.
And if that is done, and he's unable to, or Sammy Gyamfi is able to prove the allegations, then we can pursue the possibility of criminal sanctions. And that is where we can probably bring in the OSP or Attorney General. But until that is done, let us not use the state investigative powers to interfere with Afenyo's right before the law courts today.
Okay.
Let us go through the long haul. Let the court make a determination, and we can proceed at the back of that. But one quick advice, and not just to Afenyo Marking as leader of the minority, but to the entirety of the MPP. It is taking them years to appreciate the danger Sammy Gyamfi poses to their survival. It is taking them years to appreciate it. But I can assure you that anybody who stands on the way of that gentleman must do so in truth. If you don't, your political future will be on the line.
Okay.
And that is why Afenyo Marking is suffering this fate. And so no matter the discussions, now you hear them. Oh, let's move away from the allegations against Afenyo Marking. That is not the substance of the claim. The substantive issue is about the Bank of Ghana losses. It cannot be. They say he who goes for equity must go with cleaner and senior. Is that not the point? So if you are the one making allegations and insinuating wrongdoing because of $1.7 billion loss, then it is only proper that you do so on the basis of equity.
Okay.
An allegation has been made against you, corruption. You are not just a member of parliament, you are minority leader of the Parliament of Ghana. And so we cannot just accept it as the usual politics. We must be interested
All right.
in your conduct, especially so when this is not the first time allegations are flying against you. First, as Ghana Water Company Limited MD, you were recorded again when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was president of the Republic of Ghana. So this is not new when it comes to the personality of Afenyo Marking. He must be interested in clearing his image. He must understand that in as much as that the Ghanaian people are interested in the $1.7 billion so-called dollar loss, we are also interested in the allegations of extortion against him.
Very well. Let me bring Mr. Jantua into the conversation. Counsel.
Good morning.
Good morning again.
For me, I don't think there is much to say with regards to this particular issue. The first thing I ask, what's the basis of argument? It's based on an IMF document.
Yes.
And I am a bit surprised that we tend to concentrate on the negative more than the positive. When you go to the IMF document, in terms of the recommendations, let me just read a few. It says, and this particular one is geared towards where the debt is. We strongly, and I quote, we strongly recommend that the losses should be brought on the national balance sheet rather than being held on the balance sheet of the central bank. It didn't say on the balance sheet of Gold Board. It said the central bank. And that is what government has done now, hasn't it?
Yes.
Number 2, it says, it's important to ensure that the Bank of Ghana remains well positioned to deliver on its key price stability mandate. It goes on to say, IMF also acknowledged, and this is where I'm coming from, also acknowledged the benefit side. The program helped build international reserves and reduced FX market pressure during a difficult period for Ghana. Isn't that positive? It's positive. When you look at all the things that it has been able to do, we haven't been able to use gold as a central commodity in the last 100 years. And it has started. And there I say, the MPP also started that bit of using gold in terms of the gold for oil situation. With that one too, there were quite a lot of losses. But my argument is that we are recognizing the power of gold in our economy today. We cannot be number 1 in Africa for gold deposits and production, number 6 in the world for gold deposits, and not use it to support our currency. So I think on the positive side, it's a good thing. Where Afenyomarkin is concerned, it is simple. It is very, very simple. He has sued, right?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, he has.
He has sued, and it is all based on evidence. They all bring their evidence to court, won't they? We all get to see what the evidence is. The only thing where Afenyo should be very mindful of is that the so-called charges against him might not only rest with Gold Board, but can bring other areas he's been in before, if really there was that kind of thing when he was at Ghana Water, when he was at ECG, did such a thing happen? Because if it did, then others too will bring evidence out. But basically, it's going to court.
Yeah.
The evidence will show whether it's true or whether it is false. The other side of the coin is that if he then wins, it strengthens his position in the MPP. It strengthens his position. He becomes a key pivot in the MPP. If he loses, then very quickly it will go, his influence will go down the drain. But I conclude by saying, we have seen in this country's politics, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. I won't be surprised down the road if this entire thing is taken out of court and settled within Parliament. I would not be surprised. And for me, that can happen. Because tell me, who has gone through such a thing and we've had a result at the end? I haven't seen it at the moment. So let's see. I hope it doesn't go down that line. But that possibility is there. Right now, everybody is shouting on top of their voices, da, 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 da. As it's going gradually, it will be withdrawn and then settled. And we will not really know the efficacy of the entire situation that we are talking about now.
Right.
That's the way I see it.
Okay, quite interesting. Ishak has also joined us. Ishak Ibrahim, he is a lecturer at the UPSA Law Faculty and also a member of the MPP's Legal and Communications Directors as well. Ishak, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And then good morning to my good friends here.
Good morning, my brother.
Particularly to Hamza. I haven't seen you for long. Also, Mr. Jantua. Well, I was busy elsewhere. Yes.
Afenyo says he's headed to the courts.
He's decided to go to court. Yes. But first of all, I must commend the minority. I think they have raised the temperature and the NDC is feeling the heat. In fact, they are discharging their constitutional mandate quite well.
Okay.
I've always said that whenever the NDC is in power, especially this particular period that they have given them overwhelming mandate, we accept that. When you are having a mandate to rule, they seem to have forgotten that the minority is equally given a mandate to hold them to account. And for these reasons why I'm commending the minority.
Yeah.
This is indeed a mighty minority. They are doing it very well. And Efenyo Market was performing that particular role. The emphasis was 1.7 billion. Have we really incurred the loss? I think there's no debate on it that a loss of 1.7 billion was incurred. Yeah. And in fact, when I listened to the experts on GHOne News, one professor, I think Popkin or so, he seemed to have suggested that the loss is even more than 1.7 billion. I think where the dispute lies is which proper institution can we attribute it to? Is it the Bank of Ghana or is it the Gold Board? In the argument of the minority, it's rightly attributed to Gold Board. And some of the NDC behind the scene are agreeing that there is a loss, but that it is a Bank of Ghana loss or it is a Gold Board loss. So there is a loss. That's where the emphasis is. Now, for me, I believe that there is a distraction. Somebody is applying diversionary tactics, distractions, so that we don't keep emphasizing this. If there had been an extortionate behavior towards you, why didn't you go and report it to the police earlier? You only waited when the minority raised up the temperature. It's when you begin to talk. Instead of even dealing with the issue, you adopt a smear tactics. For me, this is a smear tactics. We should not be distracted from this particular loss. The loss must be the center. It doesn't mean allegations against minority leaders is equally not important. But it should not dilute this current debate about this particular loss. And this is where Hamza and Co wants to drag us to. I remember the little I've heard him spoke here was about emphasizing an allegation made against the minority leader is very serious. They have to do this, they have to do that, they have to do that. And the question is, why now? If those behavior or attitude that could be criminal had been done, why didn't you report it? So for me, and if you compare in the absence of better particulars, we don't have better particulars. Me, my money is with Efenyo Market. Because Samit Jomfi is a chronic liar. He's a chronic liar.
You're calling him a chronic liar?
He is. I've heard him on Metro TV claiming that our flag bearer owns hotel and that money flows directly towards to him whenever there is a purchase of energy by ECG. It is a lie. It is a lie. He has a lie before. So for me, in the absence of better particulars, my money is still with Efenyo Market. He has to ask, I mean, you heard him spoke yesterday in Parliament. He submitted himself to what sort of investigation that they want to carry out. And Samit should be willing to provide the evidence. I think this is where the debate should be. He should provide the evidence to substantiate his claims.
Right.
And he believed that, and some people, I mean, people like Hamza also equally believe that Efenyo Market have indeed done something wrong. So let's see the evidence.
Right.
You see that? But whilst he has already, for me, that should end the debate. The emphasis should be, we should go back to the 1.7 billion. Were there a loss of the 1.7 billion? And I'm happy that Parliament is also taking it on. I'm not sure whether it's a fake report. I've read briefly in the internet that the Speaker said there has to be a bipartisan committee that would investigate into it. So I believe that is the right direction.
Okay.
But we should not be distracted at all. The legal process has already been kicked in. I understand the special prosecutor is going to investigate it.
He's been petitioned as well.
Well, I mean, is it not the United members of the United Parties? I call them, you must stop Bawumia at all cost party. Because for me, if you listen to their communicators, everything, their fire is on Bawumia alone. They don't even know that there is, but we are now in opposition. How can a serious political party always directing their fire on the opposition? Your fire should actually be directed towards the government.
Okay.
Of which this government, there's a lot that you can direct fire towards. One, they have conned the good people of Ghana into coming to power. The 24 hours economy has been reduced to a 24 hours market. Future home for reptiles. We know that. Some of these, just like the school, the L-shaped schools they were building.
The E-blocks.
The E-blocks. Some of these markets are going to be future home for reptiles. They cannot even prioritize. A serious, if United Party is really a serious party, they should be directed. And that is where we have problem with them. A serious party, I mean a serious government. And I am explaining it to you. So if Agenda 111, if we realize that you've not even given me the chance.
$1 million.
Let's finish one. I'm trying to explain to you why your party is not a serious party. Why you are not a government Ghanaian should take seriously. That the when COVID-19 hit us, we realized there was a shortage of health facilities in the country. Even the president acknowledged if some of your citizens are dying in ambulances because of lack of facility, there is a queuing system. And they are dying in ambulances. And you have limited resources. Where would you direct your resources to? Is it building 24 hours market?
Okay.
In some communities, they are not needed. Or finishing existing infrastructure that the MPP have started.
Very well.
That the one was not Akufo-Addo's money. It was Republic of Ghana's money. And that is where your emphasis should be.
Okay.
Not building future reptile homes.
Okay. Yes. Briefly, let me bring Mr.
This is important. He spoke, and after he spoke, let me just
you don't want your senior to speak.
NDC doesn't believe in seniority.
First of all, Josh,
Yes, Hamza.
you listened to him.
Yes, I did.
And what my brother has demonstrated on this platform today is absolute lack of knowledge about, first, the 24-hour economic policy and the rationale even behind the construction of the markets. He's not aware that as part of the build-up of the markets, we have health facilities connected to it. That goes to even feed the primary health care initiative of this government. He's not aware. And so that's why you sit on such a platform and question the motive of the 24-hour market. Because to you, it is just a market. And on what basis are you claiming that they are being situated where they are not needed? Have you done any research to that effect? Have you? And so that is the modus, that is the operational mindset of the NPP, driven in propaganda. And this has not helped you in the past. It is not going to help you today. Now to the Afenyo marking issue.
Yes.
My brother says that, they want to move us away from the $1.7 billion loss. And that even the NDC, some of them have admitted behind closed doors that there's $1 billion loss. Clearly, you have not been in the country for a very long time. And if you were in the country and following our events, you would have come to appreciate that this is not the first time this issue is coming up.
Yeah.
In the annual reports of the Bank of Ghana, it was detailed. And that report was submitted to the Ministry of Finance. If you care to know, it is still on the website of the Bank of Ghana. So nothing about it was hidden. The contention was the implications of that cost that was incurred.
Yeah.
And we told you that in line with Section 7 of the Bank of Ghana Act, the the law mandates the Bank of Ghana not to record that as a loss, because these are liabilities from gold. Josh, read Section 7 of the Bank of Ghana Act to my brother. And this was the bone of contention. So nobody said that there was no cost or loss associated with it.
Yeah.
Even the IMF report, the IMF agrees that as a result of where the liabilities are coming from, it can be deemed as cost. And that is why if you read the IMF report, they use both loss and cost incurred interchangeably to describe the 1.7 billion. That tells you that this government has been pretty consistent when it comes to that figure. So, Ishak, to you and to the MPP, nobody in the National Democratic Congress or in this government ever doubted or denied the existence of a cost or loss of about 1.7 billion. That loss or cost has been captured in the Bank of Ghana's annual report. The bone of contention was the propaganda-driven ill motive of Afenya Marquis that sought to create the impression that that loss was on the books of Gold Board. Before the establishment of Gold Board, under the domestic gold purchase program, was Bank of Ghana under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, your brother and vice president, were they not making losses under the domestic gold purchase program? And what was the effect of those losses, even on our economic indices? That was the time they introduced haircuts on the ordinary Ghanaian. The domestic debt exchange program, that was the time we were locked out of the capital markets. Even at the time you were recording losses. Is that the same situation as we have today? Absolutely not. So when we tell you that it is cost, and it is cost protected under Section 7 of the Bank of Ghana Act, we are speaking according to the laws of this country, not because of our own partisan interests and desires.
Right.
And George, this is important. My brother, as for the allegations against Afenyo Marquis, this is not the first time an allegation has been made against Afenyo Marquis. And I have given you an example of the same Sami Jemfi making allegations against your party functionaries and proceeding to establish same. I made references to Godfrey Dami. When Sami Jemfi said that he had evidence to the effect that he was trying to compromise witnesses against Atu Forsen, you guys said he was lying. Didn't he prove it with audio tapes? So if the same Sami Jemfi says that he has evidence to the effect that Afenyo Marquis attempted to extort him, you should not treat it lightly.
Right.
And on the issue of Haftel, why are we being so hypocritical in this country? Why are we suddenly behaving that we don't know that politicians have alter egos when it comes to their interest in businesses? You, Shark, seated here, you can own Globe or GHOne through another person. But that does not mean that people don't know that you own it. Is that not a fact?
Prove it.
Don't they do that in politics? So if there is ample evidence to suggest that though there's a figurehead who owns Haftel, but the actual owner of Haftel is your flag bearer, and that allegation is made, what's wrong with that?
You have to prove it.
Why? Have you called him and he's unable to prove it?
I have just said he's a chronic liar.
So let Bawumia take him on.
No. He should come out and prove it that he's not a chronic liar. I
Are you
say
serious?
he's a chronic liar. He should prove it.
He should prove what?
He should prove that it belongs to him.
Afenyo Marquis has instituted a suit.
Oh, you see the distraction. You see the distraction.
No, you should ask yourself. So, George, you see
the distraction.
Let us not belittle the issues.
Right.
And this is not the first time an allegation has been made against Afenyo Marquis, even under you people. Remember the Ghana Water Company Limited matters? And accusations of taking money under your own government. So you should be concerned about the image of your political party. In opposition, in government, you guys ate, drank, and bathed corruption. And so it should be worrying to you that even in opposition, the conduct of your leaders are leaving much to be desired in terms of your party's
Oh, you're
Right.
having a selective memory.
I am not. You see, this is important.
Your flag, the
George.
current president was accused of taking fraud.
And your listen,
your
listen,
energy
listen.
minister,
And your,
Karen, 2 weeks ago.
Isaac, let him land so that.
Okay.
Yes.
And your own what do we call a spokesperson at the time? Kweku
You mean
Bako.
I should help you?
Kweku Bako told you people in the face that you lied on His Excellency President Mahama in relation to the fraud issue. He was your number one communicator. Have you forgotten?
No, we didn't lie.
Your dad said the law
It
when
wasn't
it comes
from
to
the
political
MPP, it
communication.
was from the journalist.
But you see, let me
Yes,
end on
yes,
this note.
briefly.
Let me end on this note. You see, for me, there is nowhere you can find evidence to the effect that the NDC administration is trying to run away from accountability, especially when it comes to the $1.7 billion loan.
Okay.
That is why it is in the Bank of Ghana's annual financials. Take it and read and understand it.
Right.
We are ready to answer any question associated with it. And if it is found out that indeed people acted in ways untoward, be rest assured that this is not a government known to shielding culprits.
Okay.
But you can continue to go on that tangent. All what I know is that this was the cost of our economic recovery.
Right.
This was the cost government had to pay for the kind of economy you left us. This was the cost we needed to incur to be able to increase our reserves. This was the cost we needed to incur to be able to stabilize our city. This was the cost we needed to incur to be able to service our debts. This was the cost we needed to incur to be able to continue with infrastructure projects.
Right.
And these were the costs that needed to be incurred so that even those of you in opposition can have meaningful livelihoods. We are
Mr.
not
Antoine.
like you people.
You know, there should be a situation where we can collectively speak about things of this nature which have a national dimension.
Right.
The MPP, Gold for Oil program, January 2023 to March 2025, made losses.
Yeah.
BOG confirmed 2.137 billion loss over 2 years. Then another 317 million in 2023 and 1.82 billion in 2024 before it was ended March 13th, 2025. Should we not, as a nation, try and find out how we plug these holes?
Yeah.
2019 to 2023, we lost 11.4 billion in smuggled gold. Is that not something collectively we should see how we block those holes? Because nobody is looking at it, and we're talking about both parties making losses where gold is concerned.
Yeah.
But let me ask my good brother Ishak whether he's read the IMF report that they are basing their argument on.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Wait.
I mean, are you in my house?
please.
I mean, are you on my mobile phone?
Please. If Ishak says he did read it, was there anywhere in that document that stated that 1.7 loss was gold boards? I have read. I didn't see it. I rather saw Bank of Ghana. So they shouldn't just take one bit and coin it into something that isn't in the document that they are using.
Right.
Have you read it?
Yes, I have.
Did it say? Has it said in that document that it's on Gold Board's books? It says Gold Board was a facilitator and it lists reasons why that loss came about.
Yes.
Shouldn't we be investigating that and making sure that going forward we don't see ourselves in such a situation again? Because you know what? We will talk about 1%, this, then it just passes by.
Right.
Passes under the carpet, passes under the door. And then next year, the following year, we find losses again. because we wouldn't have done what? We wouldn't have looked at the reasons why we incurred that loss and try to do what? Sort it out.
Right.
So for me, let's be more patriotic in some of these issues. Discuss it as a nation and see how we pluck it. Because gold ain't going to go away.
Yeah.
We're still going to use gold to support our economy, and it's a good thing to do. Gold is now what? 4,600 an ounce. Good money. Good money. We should make sure going forward, we do not do what? We do not allow losses to be made in some of these things.
Ishak, you have the final word on this. Briefly.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Gentua asked me whether I have read the report.
The IMF report.
This is not the first time we are discussing, as you rightly said. You see,
I said it for a particular reason.
if you look at, I will explain it.
So answer that.
I would
He
explain
hasn't
it.
read the report.
I have. What
My
do you
brother,
mean?
you have not read
I've
it.
been-
How many paragraphs?
For the past 2 weeks, I've been discussing.
What is the form of the report?
The last time I checked, it wasn't my lecturer. You see,
He has not read
no, let me explain to you.
Right.
All that this government is engaging in is creative accounting. It's creative accounting. You see, nobody.
So are you saying what the IMF said
Let
was
me
wrong?
explain.
No, are you saying it was wrong?
No, they are doing creative accounting. Gold Board is reporting losses, and is reporting surpluses, and shifting their losses to the Bank of Ghana in a form of agency-principal relationship. That's basically what we are saying. So the report might not explicitly mention Gold Board, but if you look at the report critically, those losses are as a result of Gold Board activities. At least they have to acknowledge they are partially responsible for those losses. So it doesn't have to say that these are losses from Gold Board.
Right.
But we can attribute it to Gold Board as a result of the role they have performed on behalf of Bank of Ghana in the market. So for me, this particular emphasis, so if you acknowledge there is losses, that is a good start. And nobody said in the past there have not been losses. In fact, last week, I shared a platform with Honorable Mohammed Isa, MP for Sinsala East or West, against Sinsala East, who acknowledged that, yes, there were losses during the MPP time. And the question was, why didn't you comment on it? And he said they were incurred in the national interest. They needed to stabilize the economy.
So this
The question was, why didn't you comment on it?
No, why didn't you? So, for example, the question is that we are commenting that there are losses now.
Yes.
And the question the journalist asked him was that if you insist there were losses during the MPP time in the Go for Oil program, why was this thing not highlighted as part of the role by the minority in holding government account?
No, it was highlighted.
And he said that there was no need, but blame was not put on the government according to him. I'm just reporting to you.
No, the
Don't be
blame
sensitive,
was
my
placed
friend.
on the doorstep. I need to give you that information.
But he said you can you can
The
cross-check
blame
it. Then
was
he misspoke.
placed squarely on
Yes.
the doorstep of Bank of Ghana, not PMMC at the time.
But he
Precious Minerals
then he
Marketing Company.
misspoke.
Yeah.
But he
That
said
is
that
the fact.
it was in the
Because
national
we
interest.
questioned your finance minister at
He
the time,
said, I will
Ken
have the
Ofori-Atta,
finance say you have
issued a statement and actually made references to Section 7.
Right.
And our disagreement with Ken Ofori-Atta
You see
was
the
to the
distraction
fact that
we are talking
what
about.
was the effect?
You don't even allow me to
Hamza, okay, make
You
the
see
point.
that?
Make
He
the
said I
point.
will have the finance.
Yes, make
and
the
allow
point.
you to
Let's talk
flow.
about Adam Usman.
So the point I'm making is that we are raising it as a what they call it as patriotic Ghanaians. You say let's be patriotic. What is more patriotic is to highlight the activities of an incompetent government.
But you're not highlighting.
You're highlighting it.
Ishak,
And they come up with
Ishak,
these
Ishak,
distractions
Ishak,
of
you're not-
allegations.
Ishak, listen.
Yes.
You're not highlighting what the IMF report is saying. The IMF report
You
is
want
saying
them
that.
to highlight it according to what the CPP wants?
Wait.
What Mr. Gentua
Please,
wants?
no. I said,
that's why
I said
I'm
according
asking
to
them
what
to read the
IMF is saying.
Gentlemen.
What the IMF is saying.
If there is any
Hamza,
political
let
party
Ishak make the
that
point.
must be
Yes.
excited and must carry that IMF report as Dai said the Lord
Yes.
to town, it should be the National Democratic Congress government.
And in
That
fact,
report is
to tell you that I have read this report,
Yes.
you know
To the
what they
NDC.
have done?
You don't
The
know.
Bank of Ghana at that time even depart from using the usual standard they use in reporting financial statements. And I have seen it. The report highlighted it.
That's not true.
The Bank of Ghana actually adopted their own standards.
I have not read the report.
The Bank of Ghana, let somebody cross-check it.
Yes.
Oh, for God's sake, I told you the last time I checked, you were not my lecturer. Let the Ghanaians decide based on what I'm saying. The Bank of Ghana adopted a standard of reporting.
So, land for me on this. Yes.
So, for me, these are distractors.
Okay.
The emphasis should be on the laws, and let's nail it down.
Okay.
To whom we can attribute it to. The allegations have also been made, and Efenyo Market have also taken steps to clear his name. Yeah. Let whoever alleges to come and prove it, not the other way around.
So, Ishak, tell me, where did the IMF say the losses came from? You've read it. Where did it say it came from?
You want us to say
you said you read it. Where did it come from?
That's the problem.
Should I tell you where it came from?
No, senior.
The exchange rate issues.
The exchange rate issues.
Killing us.
He has not read it. The man Joshua. Let's
the report says that we scaled up the domestic gold purchase program, and that also resulted in some of this.
Let's accept what they are saying is true. I have not read it. Last week here, didn't I discuss it with him?
Oh, no, of course.
Am I that stupid?
Oh, no.
Didn't I discuss it with him?
So I asked you, where did they say it came from?
No, let's assume I have not even read it. Couldn't I have taken it from those who have read it that this is what they are saying?
Where are you? Why do you?
No, you said I have not read it.
On the basis
well, and not even that. You even say you have. What are you talking about?
Why do you want us to proceed on the basis of something? You have not read it.
Listen, they are attributing to foreign exchange losses.
Yes.
Why are we talking about it when you say you have stabilized it?
Okay. Well, we are running out of gentlemen.
Listen to him. You know that.
We are running out of
time. These are distractions.
Ask that question again. I beg you, ask that question.
So, gentlemen. Hamza, please, Hamza, please.
This is important.
He said he has read the report.
I have been discussing this report for 3 weeks now.
But you have not read it.
You allow Hamza to get to you.
Listen, no, he got to me.
Mr. Jansa, yes, gentlemen, please. Let's continue the discussion this morning. Adamus Mining. Mr. Jansa, Adamus, they had their license revoked, and they appealed against it. The appeal did not succeed. But then the good news is that the president has given a certain lifeline. He says that let's form a committee, 6-member committee, 3 from Adamus, 3 from the government side, and let's see how we can turn the mines around within 12 months. For you, what's your position on this matter?
I think it's a good thing, especially because it's an indigenous gold company.
Yeah.
And we need to build indigenous companies in this country. That is the only way we will make multi-billionaires for Ghanaians. Yeah. You know, Ghanaians will partake in some of the things that other foreigners have come in and are benefiting from. But what was the cause of Adamus's challenges? Have we interrogated those challenges? Have we looked at it and make sure that it does not happen again? Yes, they weren't able to pay taxes. They weren't able to pay so many things. And a 6-man committee has been put in place.
Yes.
3 from their side and 3 from the government side. Who are the 3 from the government side? What is the expertise of the 3 from the government side? I even thought that if for nothing at all, they should get even the AGI included in that committee.
Okay.
Because of the business side of it, and make sure that things are done well. But for me, I think it's a good thing that government stepped in and decided that, okay, we will not shut you down, but we will give you the chance to continue your business, but make sure that the right things are done. For that reason, if any Ghanaian company wants to go into mining, wants to go into oil and gas, wants to go into any of our critical resources, we should make sure that they understand exactly what they are doing. They have the right expertise to go into it. Look, one of the reasons why we were able to accelerate our oil and gas when we went into production was the fact that GMPC from 1997, was it 97 or 92, had expertise, petroleum engineers work in the field for years before they did what? We discovered oil. When we now discovered oil, because of the expertise they had, they were able to negotiate one-on-one with the oil companies that came in. And so we shouldn't only give Kwame Jantua a portion of land to mine, but we should go behind the scenes to see whether Kwame Jantua has the right capabilities and the right expertise to go into that business.
Right.
Because whatever the case is, it helps in the economy. This is gold, isn't it?
Yes.
Right now, there is legislation where all gold should be sold through Gold Board. And if it's sold through Gold Board, it helps the country, doesn't it? It reduces smuggling, doesn't it? And most of all, it gives employment. I think this government should try and push indigenous companies into the gold industry. And I will repeat what I said last week. Gold, everybody, right now, if things are done well, I will go into gold. They should try as much as possible to regularize galamsey and small gold mining, because you get some of the small artisans going into galamsey and vice versa. Ban it 3 years, put it right, put all the structures in place, the same way they've got set up a committee to look at Adamus. They should use that same thing for what? Galamsey and small-scale mining. Put it right. Then we can all be able to buy dory bars. Look, the reason why gold prices are going up is because of the weakening of the dollar. And investors are realizing that it is best to buy gold than to invest in any other thing. So because of that, gold price is going up. If we're number one in gold, and I have a small gold mine, and I'm doing it right, I'm doing dory bars, does that not bring more money into my coffers? And if it brings more money into my coffers, does that not bring more money into our banks? If it brings more money into our banks, doesn't it give government the chance to tax well, and then use that money to do what? To help out in terms of projects and infrastructure that they build. So we need to do it right. And I think it's a good step where they have moved Adamus to. Apparently there were some Chinese people in there, right? And what did they do with those Chinese people? What were those Chinese people doing? We need to be serious and build our own. You see, the other thing too is that, I don't know if it's because of the politics, but Ishak and I, or Hamza and I, we can't do joint venture.
Bring the money.
We can't do joint venture.
Right. Why not?
I might have an expertise.
Yes.
He might have an expertise. We can't say we are bringing it together, let's do this. Somewhere down the line, confusion will come in.
And
it's only through joint venture, strong joint venture, that you can move things forward. And where the gold industry is concerned, we need that to happen.
Right. All right. So Hamza, before I come to you, Isha, quickly on this Adamus issue, briefly.
Yeah, thank you. I only hope the government is making the decision in the national interest, but I have my doubts. My doubts stems from the fact that I've listened to Kwame Danso.
Okay. Yes.
Both on GTV and your platform.
Yes.
I think when the story first broke, contrary to what I said, I was in the country. I was. So he had the opportunity of visiting the community. He heard what the community leaders have said. He saw firsthand the activities of the company. And the main allegation stems from the fact that the company have subleased what was assigned to them to a Chinese company. And this company was more or less mining irregularly, or what we call the galamsey. They were more or less doing it that way. And in fact, some of his words and other people's words, what the company was accused of was worse than what the Attorney General and others allege Chairman Winterman did. And there was also reports that there was a lady who was in charge of the subleasing, or more or less in control of the company, who had even gone to the Jubilee House crying to the president. Now, was this decision made based on the lady crying to the Jubilee House? Or was it actually genuinely made in the national interest?
Okay.
I think we need to look at all these particular ones.
Right.
And if indeed what Kwame reported and what people said, what the company alleged to have done is worse than Wontumi, the question would be, why was Wontumi also given such a similar chance?
Okay.
This is what we are talking about, the selective justice system. So if that is true, why was he not given similar chance? If somebody could be sent to Sawam for allegedly listing their consignment, and somebody is given a second chance, are we really saying it was done in the national interest? I don't know the answer. I'm just trying to speculate so that based on what was reported, so that Ghanaians can judge for themselves whether this is actually done in the national interest.
Right.
But when it comes to Galamsey, we knew they have no appetite in fighting it. They said whatever they wanted to say when they were in opposition to win power. Even currently, as we stand, as Mr. Gentle asked the question, what happened to the foreigners, the Chinese? Because we are told by the Interior Minister last year that when they arrest foreign illegal miners, they will simply deport them home. And I understood the Attorney General office had also pushed back. They will prosecute them. Up to now, the two ministries have not been able to reconcile what is the policy. What will we actually going to do? So your question cannot be answered. Nobody can answer it. The Interior Minister, who is in charge of policing, the water bodies, said they will deport them.
That was wrong.
There's no trial.
That was wrong.
The Attorney General office, I don't remember hearing directly from the Attorney General, but some people from the office said, no, we'll prosecute them. I tempted to believe the Minister of Interior, because he has to apprehend somebody and hand them to the Attorney General before they can be prosecuted.
Yeah.
So for me, this government does not give me hope at all when it comes to the Galamsey fight.
Okay.
They have no plan.
Right. Hamza will have the final word on the show.
Why would the government give you hope when your hope was one rooted in corruption and milking the public coffers dry in the last 8 years that you were given power? So, expectedly, a government that is committed to prudence, a government that is committed to weeding out corruption, can never inspire hope in one who is driven by corruption tendencies. So, I can understand your lack of faith and hope as far as this government is concerned, because that was the whole objective of this government, to make sure that those of you who milk the state resources dry are demoralized not to continue on that trajectory. So your lack of hope is just.
But the decision of the president, some say, undermines the decision of the minister.
No. You see, this government is one that promised a reset.
Yes.
And I can tell you that even within the corridors of power, there were concerns being raised about the manner in which the Adamu's resources matter was handled. Not because people lacked confidence in the minister responsible for lands and natural resources, but even he, as a minister, works with a team. And a committee was put in place to look into the matter and bring their recommendations for onward decision by the minister. And so when that was done, mind you, this reset was not just a buzzword. And that is why sometimes when I listen to the MPP, I feel sad for this country. Even prior to the revocation of the licenses, we heard all kinds of things about even the ownership of Adamu's resources and the so-called stakeholders behind the scenes, including their own former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and former Volta Regional Chairman of the NPP. You know the man I'm talking about. We all heard all kinds of things. This is a government. That would have been enough for us to have continued with the decision to revoke the licenses of Adamu Resources. Right. But that did not stop His Excellency President Mahama. These what's the name, innuendos and this kind of backbiting about the ownership structure, the stakeholders behind it, did not prevent President Mahama from proceeding to act and give this directive. And Josh, first of all, many of us asked the question whether indeed the Mining Act was followed. Because per the law, they were supposed to be given ample time, even if there are issues for them to respond to. I was not convinced that they had that opportunity. And if you promise a reset, it was only proper for the president to give a counter directive after listening to all the issues and directing that the ministry and that company should engage further for the interests of Ghana. Mind you, this is a president who in his first year signaled his desire to have the mining sector controlled by Ghanaians.
Yes.
And so even in reaching that decision, the policy rationale of the president was embedded. Those who were agitating against the revocation, the likes of Kofi Bentel and co., what did they say? Oh, they said, but that is a Ghanaian. Give her a second chance. Their argument was not to the effect that the issues that were raised by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources were not founded. These were issues that were founded, but the law says, let them respond. So for many of us, our difficulty was that that legal window was not exhausted.
Okay.
And so if the president engages the two sides, and a compromise has been reached in the interest of the Republic, we must see it as such.
Okay.
And hope to work together to ensure that regardless of the feelings we have about the ownership structure and stakeholders who own that company, it is manned by Ghanaians.
Right.
And that is the agenda of His Excellency President Mahama. And even if you go into the road sector, even contractors doing the big push, we've heard all kinds of things. Oh, this is an MPP contractor. And he's on public to have said that he's not driven by those partisan motives when it comes to the national objective of getting certain things done. And we must see it as such.
Right.
It does not mean that Adamu's resources, they did not have questions to answer.
True.
They have questions to answer, and we will ensure that those questions are answered.
Okay.
And if they are answered satisfactorily, why not? Government will give them the needed support at the end of that period that the president has directed to continue to work.
Right.
But if we also find out that the problems are such that there is the need for a new ownership structure, government should not resist the temptation to do so.
Okay.
And my brother, as for your rant about Galamsey, you had 8 good years. 8 good years.
Speak to the policy incongruence.
No, you spoke about it. Which policy?
The policy incongruence
Briefly, we need to go. So
8 good
something
years
specific.
to fight Galamsey. 8 good years. You
Don't
did
talk about it
absolutely
generally.
nothing.
I've made some allegations.
In a matter of 2 years, we have been able to discover communities that thrived in Galamsey under you in the forest, and that for 8 years you pretended not to see. In a matter of less than 2 years, we have been able to repeal a law that you passed that gave a tacit approval to your party functionaries to even mine in our forest reserves. In a matter of less than 2 years, we have been able to bring sanity and ensure that Ghana government gets the needed benefits from the gold industry through gold. The amounts we're losing at the back of smuggling of gold has become a thing of the past.
Right.
As we speak today, working on daily basis, that is why the MPP is struggling.
Yes,
to
we need to go. We need to go. We need to go.
Yeah, I have to have 1 minute.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. What do you want to respond to?
Okay.
Briefly, what do you want to respond to?
In law, we often say that if an allegation is made and you do not deny it specifically, but you give a general denial, you are deemed to have accepted it. I have made allegation that there is a policy incongruence between the interior minister
We need to
and
go.
the attorney general.
We need to go quickly. We need to go.
Deal with it.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Hamza Suyuni, Ishaq Ibrahim, and Kwame Jatwa joining us for the breakfast review. We're taking a breather. When we come back, Dr. Gideon Boako, the Member of Parliament for Tano South, will be joining us for a conversation. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for staying on with us. This is Hard Talk on GH today, and my guest this morning is the Member of Parliament for Tano South, Dr. GHOne, and he's joining us to have a conversation primarily on the issues regarding the losses, $1.7 billion loss, we are told, as a result of the domestic good purchase program. There's been a lot of contention as to where to put the blame in terms of who should bear the cost. But then government says, well, they are absorbing this particular issue. But the genesis of this whole program and how it was fashioned, because one of the claims that the government has made is that, listen, the program itself was not set up to make profit, and so you cannot blame us if the program is making some losses here and there, as has been the case since its inception. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, bro. How are you?
I'm well. I hope you're well.
Yeah, by the grace of God, I'm good.
Nice. Yeah. And I'm sure you were busy during the little break you had from Parliament. Now you've been recalled.
Yes. I spent 2 weeks in the constituency.
Right.
I actually came back to Accra 3 days ago.
Wow.
And I'm going back on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how's the constituency shaping up?
Yeah, everything is getting on well. There are a few things that we've been doing. What I do each year, I did last year and I'm doing this year, is that during the break, I go to every single community, village, town, hold, community derbies, engage the people, explain to them the issues that have happened in Parliament, and the interventions, some of the interventions I've made to mitigate the issues in the constituency, and also give people a chance to ask questions and air their views. And as an MP, you have to listen and then you answer the ones that you can answer. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I still have a couple of communities to go. And so from Friday, I'm going back to continue.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. So let's talk about the issues, because once the issues started coming up, we knew that we would have to have a conversation with you. Yeah. Because the last time you were here, we talked about this matter. Yeah. And now, Goldbot says you need to apologize. You need to retract and apologize because you said they owe.
Oh, I mean, that's from them, but they know the truth. I keep saying that the issues we're having with Good Board, the Bank of Ghana, and the domestic good purchase program is something that people must approach with little emotions. There are bigger problems that are coming up. The last time we were here, remember, early this year, we're talking about the losses that had been registered as at that time.
Yeah.
That was around 214 million cedis. And
you mentioned that it was even bigger than that.
I made it highly emphatic here that the loss, by the time the official accounts are produced, Bank of Ghana and Good Board, the loss is going to be way higher than what we had been told. People didn't believe me. I mean, there were those who attacked me some way, somehow. But I knew what I was talking about, so I didn't have to embellish it. I had to state it as it was. Here we are there with the loss figure, in multiple terms relative to what we had been told. And so yesterday, when I had the opportunity to add my voice to the discussion, then I made that revelation also. And I've seen the statement from Good Board. That is coming from their side. But the truth, they know the truth, okay? Because, effective 1st July, the Bank of Ghana has stayed off the financing of Good Board. And now they're on their own. They just have to think outside the box to see where they can get funds from, okay? They are having challenges. You saw the Reuters report yesterday that states that some of the buyers who have been buying gold for Good Board are short of cash. Good Board is not able to advance money to them, So some of them have put their tools down. There are others who are not able to supply as the flow used to be because of liquidity challenges. I know there are problems coming from the Middle East because of the issues there, because mostly our gold have been bought by our guys in the Middle East, and they have their own problems. So the gold board's anticipation to rely on off-taker funds that could be advanced to them to buy the gold, that is also not flowing the way it is supposed to flow. Just last month, Bank of Ghana advanced cash to gold board. What was that cash for? Bank of Ghana is no longer the one financing gold board as per the dictates of the IMF. And gold board goes to Bank of Ghana for support. If you go to your bank today and you tell them that you're having liquidity issues, you don't want to take a long-term loan, and so they should advance something to you in the short to medium term, how would you describe that? Is it an overdraft or not? Okay, so practically they know what is happening. Okay, so the institution is having liquidity challenges. And that's how come just last month, even though Bank of Ghana stays, they have stayed out of financing gold board. They still had to advance money to gold board because gold board is struggling to get money to buy gold. Okay, so there are problems as we speak. There are some stock of gold that gold board had earlier taken monies from Bank of Ghana to supply Bank of Ghana. They were not able to supply. And so if you look at the gold box financials for 2025, there's about 5 billion cedis worth of gold that gold board is supposed to supply to Bank of Ghana. Till date, they've not been able to supply. And that arose from trading decisions of gold board. They had taken money from Bank of Ghana, bought the gold at a higher price. I don't know whether they decided to hedge to get a higher price in the future, so they sent to Bank of Ghana, and now the price has dropped. If gold board wants to supply the same stock of gold to Bank of Ghana, it will register a lower value in the books of Bank of Ghana. For that matter, Bank of Ghana is declining to take that stock of gold. And so gold board is just waiting to see when the price shoots up on the markets so that they supply that gold to Bank of Ghana to measure up to the cedi value that they took. It was only last week that the price jumped a little bit and they were able to, offload some of that stock of gold. So there's a real problem, okay? If an institution or an agency of government is confronted with such a challenge, and you don't sit back, reflect to analyze the issues, take the emotions out, take the politics out, and focus, you miss the tracks. Once you miss the tracks, the end thereof will be disastrous. I am not a prophet of doom, but if I can say, going forward, the institution is going to have serious problems.
But how does a gold board that we are told is making so much profit be going through the challenges that you talk about? Because listening to the CEO of the gold board recently at that press engagement, he mentioned that indeed what they've recorded is surpluses. And anytime we even talk about the losses, they point you to their audited financials for the year 2025, which does not record losses in there. So if gold board is doing so well, Samit Mfi even mentioned categorically at that press briefing that, listen, at a point there were proposals that the Bank of Ghana and the IMF would continue the arrangement, but they decided that no, they will not take money from the Bank of Ghana any longer. They would now find their own money, buy their own gold, and engage in the trade. So what really is accounting for what you're telling us?
So the whole discussion or narrative about profits is hugely questionable. Okay, I do not want to at this point to question the credibility of the auditors. Right. Okay, but even if you take their own books, there are reasonable evidences to have doubts as to the sources of their revenue that put them in that profit position. Take, for instance, we are told per table in their audited accounts, we are told that the total good that was purchased for the Bank of Ghana in 2024 was 63 metric tons. And that jumped to 104 metric tons by the end of 2025.
Yeah.
That is like a 63% jump, which is good. However, the BOG service charges that was earned by Good Board in 2024 for 63 metric tons was 74.1 million. Fast forward in 2025, that jumps to 558 million. So if Bank of Ghana had to pay 74.1 million cedis by way of service charges, okay, to Good Board for 63 tons of gold, why is the same Bank of Ghana paying over 500 million cedis, okay, for 104, which is less than half? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so somebody offers you a service and produces 63 tons of gold, and the amount of service charge you had to pay was 74 million, and it has increased from 63 to 104. Okay, and then you have to pay over 500 million cedis in service charges. Was it that? I mean, these are plausible speculations.
Right.
Is it a case that Bank of Ghana overpaid Good Board for their services? Okay, and for me, that is a clear case of overpayment. And why was that overpayment done? Was it done just to show up the books of Good Board to let them have more revenue? Okay, so that their books will look good. An auditor can question this, but an audit can also gloss over that. But we need to investigate. Why did the Bank of Ghana have to pay just 74 billion for 63 tons of gold for service charges? And they had to pay over 500 million. From 63 to 74, it's less than, let's say about 70, take it about 70 tons of gold. So it's problematic, okay? So if you want to really delve into the whole profit margins of Good Board, I mean, there may be things to look at, and whilst what I am talking about may just reflect a simplistic, intuitive, plausible assumption, the true plausibility of my fears or what I'm thinking is intact, okay? So I don't want Good Board at this point to jubilate so much and refer everybody to the profit supposedly they think they have made. Let's assume without admitting that they made profit.
Yes.
The fallout from what we have been told and we have seen, one, I've just mentioned to you, they owe Bank of Ghana some gold that they were not able to supply. Two, why are they still taking money from Bank of Ghana if Bank of Ghana had weaned itself from the financing of Good Board? What is their financial position? Do they have the capacity to supply the aggregators and their suppliers? Reuters made a report yesterday that a dozen of their buyers, those who buy for Good Board, are not getting liquidity to buy the gold. Okay, are the off-takers advancing money to them as it has been assumed to be? When you are a monopoly, and here we are talking about a monopolistic market, it's not a competitive market. Good Board has that prerequisite, that exclusive right to be the buyer and all of that. You are not competing with anybody. And when you have such a situation happening in a monopoly where you have that exclusive right, it raises a lot of questions. Okay, and that is why I would caution that those who are speaking for Good Board, those who have anything lovish towards Good Board, will have to exercise some restraint, because from where I sit and what I observe, the future can be dangerous if they go on the same path This is a program that I was personally involved in. Yeah. I mean, I was part of the architecture of this whole program, the design, led by the former vice president, and everybody now is seeing the benefits of such an innovative policy, even though my colleagues in the NDC didn't believe in it when they were in opposition. They said all kinds of things about it. But at the time, when we framed this whole concept, we knew certainly that is the path the country must be moving towards. And that is why Bawumia stated in the 2024 manifesto in his lecture at UPSA that having gone through this for 2 to 2.5 years in the pilot stage,
yes,
if he had been given the chance as a president, he was going to anchor our currency and our whole FS arrangement on the Good for Forest program. Okay, this government came and decided to pick the idea because if you read the NDC manifesto, the only thing they said about Good Board was that they are going to institute Good Board to regulate the artisanal mining sector, the small scale, and so they didn't have any idea towards Good Board beyond this. Okay, they came, they saw the policy that had been instigated by Bawumia, piloted for some 2 to 2.5 years, and it was solid. And at that point, we had identified 1 or 2 weaknesses, because for anything in the pilot stage, there may be weaknesses you identify. And part of the weaknesses we had identified was the multiple currency regime. And we have put in a framework such that the operations of the domestic good purchase program will be budget neutral. And that is why in the 2025 budget, the finance minister indicated that source of funding to Good Board was going to come from the finance ministry, and he had put about $200 and something million as seed capital for Good Board to start operating. What changed? Okay, we need to understand and we need to know what changed beyond the budget, such that they jettisoned the proposition in the budget and decided to go the route of the Bank of Ghana.
Central Bank.
Exactly. Okay. So fundamentally, they came to inherit the domestic good purchase program instead of moving directly from the lessons that have been learned and the modifications that have been made. They saw an opportunity. And for me, if you ask me, people don't want to hear this, but people saw an opportunity to make money, because if they had gone the path that the finance minister had prescribed, then you will know that you are taking something from the fiscals, from the Ghanaian people, using taxpayers' money, and the accountability was going to be stricter. Okay? Now you go to Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana advances CDs to you, and then you decide to do whatever you want to do with that money. Good Board decided how much they had to collect for assaying. Okay? Bank of Ghana, or together, Good Board and Bank of Ghana, decided how much they had to sell the good. And so if you read the IMF's report, the loss has 3 main source components. One is the assay fees and charges. 2 is a discount that was granted to off-takers. And 3 is the exchange, valuation losses. Those ones we can push them aside. The exchange losses, those are normal in trading when you are dealing with FS. So you may not want to characterize that so much as a cost or loss. But when I am providing assaying service to you, you are bringing your good to me to sell. So we need to check the purity, the weight of everything. And I know that I have to take S amount, but I decide to take half of it. The question every Ghanaian must ask is, why did Good Board decide to halve the assay charges? In any case, you are in a monopolistic market. It's a monopsony. You are the only buyer. It's not like they can even go and sell it to any other person. You are the only buyer. So why do you decide to halve your assay charges? So part of the loss is coming from there. Then 2, Bank of Ghana Good Board buys the good, gives it to Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana is supposed to sell. Okay, so I gave you 10 billion cedis to go and buy gold. You bring the gold to me worth 10 billion cedis. If I am to sell as Bank of Ghana, the minimum, the floor price is how much I give it to you. Or add something to it to make profit. Okay? But Bank of Ghana goes to sell the gold to off-takers and sells it less than how much he invested into the purchase of the gold. Okay? Grants the off-takers what do you call it?
Discounts.
Discounts.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you are the only institution that can sell gold in this country. It's not like you are in a competition with anybody to say that others have reduced theirs, so I have to reduce mine. You are the only one in the country. Okay? So why would Bank of Ghana decide you have put in 10 billion cedis to buy gold? Your buyer, which is Gold Board, has gone to buy the gold, brought you gold worth 10 billion cedis. Then when you are selling, you go and sell it for 6 billion. Who would do that? What businessman would do that? It doesn't make sense. Okay? The only plausible reason for which an entity or anybody would do that is that the difference, okay, that discount you gave, you stand to benefit from it. That's the plausible reason. Okay? You stand to benefit from it personally.
Right.
Okay? Somebody can deny it, but look, hey, we are talking about business. No businessman will invest money to buy an asset, then go and sell it below how much he bought the asset. It doesn't make sense to anybody. So if you read the IMF report, these are the three sources of the loss. The last one I have said we can discount it because it's exchange losses. But the assaying fees and the discounts, you cannot. And these are cost to the country. Today, we are told by the IMF that everything, all the loss has been pushed to government. And it is you and I who have to pay. Bank of Ghana had to, take about 29 billion or so of this. The negative equity position is around 93 billion. And that is dangerous for the country. Even though the Bank of Ghana can still run with negative equity because they create money, it doesn't send a good signal. But the worst of it is that now this loss has been pushed to the books of the country, of the government, and you and I will have to pay. Yet the decision that went into what occasioned the loss doesn't make sense practically for any businessman to make such decisions. Something that we had control.
Right.
Because models and programs do not price themselves. The pricing was done by us, Bank of Ghana Gold Board. Okay, the discount was issued by us as a country. And so it has everything to do with this government. Sometimes I don't even like the idea when we zero in on institutions. It's the whole architecture of government. Okay, because the president is aware, the finance minister is aware. And what is worse in this whole conversation is the fact that this humongous loss was not communicated to Ghanaians by actors who had been put in place to be the watchers of our purse. Right. The finance minister knew about it. He never mentioned it in any of his bulletins and publications to Parliament, to Ghana, whatever. The finance minister was quiet about the loss, yet they knew about it. The Bank of Ghana, which is the custodian of the balance sheet, okay, of the central bank, by extension the government, kept quiet about it. They have never written it anywhere. They never said anything about it. Then the CEO of Gold Board, okay, also never said anything about it. It had to take the IMF to come and tell the whole world and the Ghanaian people that, hey, this is the laws that have been registered in the books of the domestic gold purchase program. What do you take Ghanaians for? Right. Okay. So there are fundamental problems. Because I was there when this domestic gold purchase program was birthed. Yes. Okay. The architecture and I believe in it so much, just as the former vice president believes in Dr. Bawumia believes in it. So for us, it is the panacea to most of the currency issues that we have.
But the argument is that the policy itself was not formulated to make profit. In fact, it's been argued by the government that looking at the architecture of this particular gold, the domestic gold purchase program, it was to just show up forex. And so the idea behind it was not profit making. And so the losses, and thus the losses that it's recorded since its inception.
I don't trust that narrative. Okay, we designed the program, and if you have checked the Bank of Ghana's audited accounts for 2024, when they talked about even a 400 million loss, people make reference to that.
Exactly.
That 400 million loss, 1/3 of it was attributable to gold for oil. Okay. the operations and the execution of good for oil is different from the good for reserves, because the good for oil is like you are doing a barter, you are trading. So the other person on the other side, even if you don't want to make profit, the other person on the other side who is supplying you the oil is a businessman. They want to make profit. Okay, so how you execute that kind of transaction mechanically is different from you buying good to keep. Or you understand? It's completely different. So 1/3 of that came from good for oil. So in effect, the loss that was attributable to the good for reserves was 265 million.
Right.
And if you read the Bank of Ghana audited account, that 265 million was solely on the back of exchange losses. Okay, so the other two components of the loss I have alluded to here, which is repeated by the IMF, which is the asset fee and charges and discounts, it's not what we saw in 2024. So when anybody says that the program was originally designed to make losses, that is not true.
Right.
And I have discounted the exchange losses that it's normal.
That's what you said.
It happens all the time. Yeah, exchange losses can come from
issues.
valuation, can come from head start losses and all of that. All those ones. That's why I didn't even want to put that component of the loss into the discussion we are making. And if you read the 2024, that 265 million was basically on that. Now, a new government comes, okay, and beyond that, we had designed it such that it will be budget neutral. Budget neutral in the sense that, based on the exchange losses that were registered, it is difficult to eliminate it completely. Yeah. But what we had designed was that we had to match the market rate, okay, with the trading rate, such that it becomes budget neutral as much as possible. Even when there are occasions that there will be a slip, a variation in the risk, it becomes quite minimal.
Right.
Okay. This government came, saw that. We have talked about this multiple currency regime a couple of times, because what is happening is that when you give a currency rate today to a certain buyer, the next day somebody comes to you, and sometimes they negotiate, plead with you that, oh, because of market issue, give us a better rate and all of that. Then you have this problem. But what is not acceptable, even in this case, is that Gold Board was the sole buyer. Okay?
So the monopoly was there?
Yeah. He was, say, monopsony. Let me put it that way. Monopoly is more or less on the buyer side, and the monopsony on the buyer side, the monopoly is on the seller side. So it was a controlled trading, okay? Controlled trading, that you are not in competition with anybody. Then you introduce these two elements that kind of increase the losses or short the losses up. That is what we are talking about. The exchange losses component, I don't want to place so much premium on that, even though we can mitigate that. And,
yes.
and what is also funny is that if we have monitored the day by day exchange rates, okay, for some months now, the fluctuation has been more prevalent than we even had in the past. When I say that, what I mean is that you may see a CD dollar rate today, okay? The next hour or two, it's different. Within one day, you can have about 2 or 3 episodes of the price fluctuation.
Yeah.
Why is it that? It's because people are lobbying, you know, for control of the exchange rate. So you won't see the depreciation, you understand, happening that much, but the episodes of the fluctuation doesn't make sense to me. When it happens that way, it means some way, somehow, other forces are controlling the pricing of the currency. And so if Gold Board, for instance, picks a phone and calls the governor or the exchange rate department of Bank of Ghana, if there's anything like that, and say that, oh, we are buying gold, but you know, today let's give us this rate, and they change it. Okay, that in effect affects the overall rate. Yeah. Then the next day they want another better rate, then they change it. It affects the overall rate. Bank of Ghana knows what I'm talking about very well, because I saw it. Okay, even when we were in government, sometimes if you don't put your feet on the ground as a governor, some of these influences will come, and then you offer different rates to people. That is what we call multiple currency regime. Yeah. The IMF has flagged it over and over again. Okay, when you practice that, it will create some of these losses. But let's even put those ones aside, I have said. The assaying fees and the discounts didn't make sense. And that is why today, before the Bank of Ghana exited, they have now prescribed to the Gold Board that, one, they should avoid the discounts. If we knew we could avoid discounting, why did we do it? Even somewhere last year, when the discussions became intense and we drew people's attention to why the huge discounts, if you monitor the Gold Board's website, at some point they issued a statement on the website that they have stopped the discounting. Then months later, it comes back. Why would they stop and months later it comes back? Because some people are controlling and influencing the system.
Right.
Because they will benefit from the discounting. You understand? Directly, these are monies that goes to people's pockets. Okay, so sometimes we are talking about losses, not even sometimes we are sitting here talking about losses, but these are truly not just losses that can be hidden in balance sheet or anything. These are monies that are going to people's pockets, and that is the seriousness of the matter.
And so when you hear the narrative that this was the cost of stabilizing our economy, this was the cost we had to pay to see our city perform the way it is performing, this was the cost we had to pay for us to be in this kind of state in terms of our economy, what do you make of that assertion?
It doesn't make sense at all. Not at all. I mean, what are you talking about? Single-digit inflation? Okay. Primary balance? Exchange rate stability? We've been here before. We have been here before without such a huge cost. Between 2022, let's say 2023, early, to 2024, inflation reduced from 54% to 23%. That is a 31 percentage point reduction. The country didn't have to incur such a huge cost. From 2025 January to today, inflation has reduced from 23% to 4-point-something percent, say 5%. That is about 18 percentage point reduction. So when somebody reduces inflation by 31 percentage points, and you reduce it by 18 percentage points, and you're making huge losses, and you say that is the cost of stability, it doesn't make sense. We've achieved primary balance before. In 2017, for over a decade, Ghana had not registered primary positive balance before. In 2017, we registered it. 2018, we registered it. 2019, we registered it. It didn't cost the country this much. Okay? Exchange rate stability. When the crisis happened in 2022, and there was crisis, okay, the cedi to dollar was around 16-point-something. By the time this government assumed office, it reduced to somewhere 12. A reduction of 2 cedis. To 14, a reduction of 2 cedis. Today we are down from 14 to 12, a reduction of 2 cedis. So basically, what is the difference? Somebody reduces the depreciation by 2 cedis in nominal terms without incurring a huge cost. You reduce the depreciation by 2 cedis in nominal terms, and you're telling us you have to incur such a huge cost. Look at the market interventions we've been making. Over $10 billion injected into the economy just to stabilize a currency. Okay? By reducing it by just 2 cedis in nominal terms. When the Akufo-Addo government also reduced it in nominal terms by 2 cedis, they didn't have to inject $10 billion. They had to do other things. So look, we are celebrating less with huge noise. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
And this whole attempt by the finance minister and the managers of the economy to rely on social media applause to say, oh, you are doing well, it doesn't make sense. Everything points to the fact that we are heading towards a ditch. This is a country...
Even though injecting forex is actually a tool available to the central bank?
You're not getting it. Look, after all the injections we've made,
yes,
and the many talks about stability and the economy doing well, why are we borrowing to pay salaries? The finance minister a few months ago came to tell us that he had to borrow to be able to pay salaries. An economy that is doing well would not borrow to pay salaries.
But they keep blaming that on the economy. They said you left. And he said, Ato has said that, listen, a good finance minister is not judged based on how much he spends, but how prudently he spends. Now, he says we use less than 20% of our reserves or our monies to service debts.
You see, that is a problem I have with this finance minister.
Oh, you have a problem with that too?
Yeah, I have a problem with that too, because he's losing it. Okay, and practically he's beginning to realize it. You see, what is the primary balance that they are talking about? If you look at the projections, even in the 2026 budget, mid-year, they projected to raise revenue of 126 billion.
Yes.
Listen to me very well. They projected to raise revenue of 126 billion. They got 124 billion. The difference is, let's say, 2 billion. It's actually 1.8 billion or so, but just 2 billion. It's about just 1%. Okay? Revenue shortfall for first half of 2026 was just a little about 1%, 1.4 something percent. Yet, expenditure shortfall was 26%. If you realize the revenue, and Ghanaians want development,
yes.
That is why they paid their taxes. So the government's own figures suggest that for the first half of 2024, the revenue government anticipated to raise, he was able to raise the revenue. Okay? He was short of only a little above 1%. Yet, his expenditure declined by a whopping 31 billion, by about 26%. So it basically tells you that the government is raising the revenue, but it's failing to spend.
So you insist that he's not spending?
He's not.
Even though he says he's spending prudently,
No,
and not like you spent.
Look, the figures speak for themselves. I did not produce the budget figures. He presented the budget to Parliament.
Yes.
Told us, I envisaged to raise 126 billion. Ghanaians have done well. They gave me 124 billion for first half, which is about 1.something% less what I wanted. Yet my expenditure fell by 26.2% or so. That 31 billion cedis he refused to spend could do so much for this country. And on top of that, you heard the World Bank conversational report that stated that the government has cancelled 1,800 ongoing projects and rephased 2,000 more. Which government would do that? These are projects that are supposed to benefit the country. These are projects, the feeder roads or the urban roads to your neighborhood. These are the gutters in your area that are needed to control flooding. This is the government hostel that is supposed to be built to offer cheaper accommodation to tertiary students. This is the clinic or hospital in your village that you need badly. This is the bungalow that teacher in the village needs to have, sound shelter. This is the electricity infrastructure that is needed. All of these have been cancelled by the government. Why? Because Ato wants his expenditure to be less than his revenue, such that he recalls a positive balance. Okay? And then he'll come and tell them, I said I will achieve a primary balance and surplus. I've been able to do that.
Right.
What is that statistically? That statistic. What is it for Ghanaians? When there's money to spend, and you decide not to spend because you want your books to look good. Okay? When we stabilize the economy, we must as well think about stabilizing the dinner table.
Right.
Okay? We are so consumed into believing that when you have good statistics, when you have good indicators, it translates to what happens on the market. We are talking about single-digit inflation in Accra, in Ghana. Here people are buying tomatoes, just one piece of tomatoes, for 10 Ghana cedis in Accra. Really? Do you think you are doing anything good? So they need to get to work, okay? The cosmetics is becoming too much. That is what is happening.
So are you arguing that what we are experiencing currently is worse than what used to be the case during Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Ken Ofori-Atta as finance minister?
To sit down here and hypothetically say worse or good, I may be quite disingenuous, and I don't do my politics that way.
Right.
You need to have a sample of a few things and compare, and then maybe if you want to be quite...
Because the figures look good, but you describe it as cosmetic and say it's not reflective.
I wrote some articles in the Business and Financial Times a couple ago, and I said that, look, we've been here before. Single-digit inflation, Professor Mensah's time, we saw it. Akufo-Addo's time, we saw single-digit inflation. Today, we have seen single-digit. It is not really what translates. Okay, that is why the economists say price is even sticky downwards, and especially the source of that single-digit inflation is quite important. Bank of Ghana basically had to sterilize about 60 billion cedis from the economy to cause inflation to fall. It's not coming from the real sector, okay? It's a monetary policy tool that was deployed.
Yes.
If the government decides that there's so much money in the system and it's causing inflation, and he mops up that money from the system, and inflation comes down on the screens of the Bank of Ghana, you think that reflects in the market?
Okay.
So that's a fundamental problem.
Right.
Okay, about the approach to which government is using to get some of these indicators. If you suppress expenditure such that your primary balance will look good, what have you done?
Very well. Doc, we'll come back and then take your closing remarks, but this is Hard Talk with Dr. GHOne Boakun, Member of Parliament for Tano North. We'll take a breather. When we come back, we'll wrap up the conversation for you. To Hard Talk here on GH1 television. My guest is the Member of Parliament for Tano North, Dr. GHOne Boakun. Doc, before we went on that break, we're still having the conversation on the economic figures and what they really mean for us. But looking forward, what are your expectations of, one, the Gold Board and their operations, and also the Finance Minister?
Yeah, I think for now, Gold Board is having liquidity problems. I think they don't have to compound that problem with further losses, okay? And the IMF report is very clear on what they have to do. I have seen the Bank of Ghana, proud to exiting the financing of Gold Board, put in place some measures. The governor announced them.
Yeah.
One, they say that the assay fees and charges will have to be reviewed.
Yes.
Two, they have to stop the discounts, and then also completely leave the multiple currency regime that is being practiced. Because sometimes it's so common for speakers and those who support good board to say that, oh, but these are just accounting losses, and the IMF says it partly reflects valuation effects rather than economic cost. Okay, it says partly. If you read the IMF language, people should read it well. They said the loss partly reflect valuation effects rather than economic cost. And that word is partly because the assay fees are cash, is cash. The service charge is cash. The discount to off-takers is also cash. There's even another component of the loss that technically you and I are not talking about.
Right.
It is a sterilization cost. Because the only way Bank of Ghana could make money available to them was to mop up from the system. Okay? When they sterilize, they use the OMO, the open market operations, and they pay huge interest. And so Bank of Ghana had to incur a cost of about 16.5 billion or 16.7 billion cedis last year just to mop up monies from the system to make them available to good board to buy good. So you have costs or losses coming from different angles.
Right.
Okay? So good board has to ensure that all these losses are reduced to the barest minimum. The exchange losses, there could be, remnants of that, but those ones can be dealt with in terms of the treatment of the accounts. But the fees they charge and the discounts, they have to look at it very well.
Okay.
Now, maybe I don't know whether I should say this or I shouldn't say this.
Yes. As a wrapper.
There appears to be an issue between Good Board and the Bank of Ghana. And the earlier that is resolved, it will help them and it will help the country.
Right.
From where I sit, I see that the governor and the Good Board have issues. Let's say Bank of Ghana and the Good Board. I don't want to personalize it.
Right.
Those issues, and it's a conflict. I don't think they are in agreement on so many things. It's a huge disagreement between the two. And that is why one is defending, the other is quiet and silent. And this disagreement reveals itself in a broadcast email that the Bank of Ghana sent to all the commercial banks, across the country, cautioning them not to subscribe to the Good Board FS forward sales. Okay, the Good Board also issued a letter, and this letter was issued to all the commercial banks on August 3rd, 2025. It says statement to commercial banks on the implementation of Good Board funded FS forward sale framework. Let me read paragraph 6 to you.
Okay.
Paragraph 6 says that the maiden fund